Take a moment to give best thoughts and wishes to Mike and his family as they begin to open the next chapter of their lives together. I'll close with this. Mike may be retiring, but his legacy lives on in each of us. Before us is a leader who served with honor, courage, commitment, dignity, and respect, in word and deed. We would be wise to emulate his example as we continue to serve this great nation. Mike, I love you, brother. Death waits in the dark. Night Stalkers don't quit. God bless America.
Ladies and gentlemen, Chief Warrant Officer 4, Michael S. Keeber.
That was pretty good. More, they gotta put on my glasses. I didn't wear my hearing aids today. I usually chastise my soldiers when they go to brief and they have to have a script. I'm going to use a script though, because this is tough. So, Mrs. Keeber, Colonel Hogan, Lieutenant Colonel Hole, Command Sergeant Major Kitchens, COB-5 Carls, distinguished guests, friends, family, and fellow Night Stalkers. The overall classification of this brief will be unclassified in its entirety. Discussions of higher classifications will not be available due to the fact that I've been read off. Please hold all questions to the end. I would like to begin by acknowledging the great work of the RS2 section for pulling us together over the last few weeks, and especially our amazing narrator, Captain Rob Gammon, who led the charge. Thank you, sir. According to DAPM 600-60, a guide to protocol, individuals should always address the highest ranking commanding officers, command sergeants major, or other designated VIPs in attendance when opening formal military speeches. I included my lovely wife, Christy, during my opening because I'm acutely aware of who will serve as my commanding officer, Command Sergeant Major, from this point on. Ma'am, keep going. I would like to start by acknowledging a few of the many folks who helped a lost, naive, and at times troubled young man. This is going to be a much longer speech, I think, now. Earn the right and honor of standing before you today with all these undeserved medals on my chest after having some extremely nice words, if not inflated, just said about me. First and always foremost is my best friend, confidant, and partner in crime for the last 26 years, my wife, Christy. No matter where I found myself in the world over these last crazy and chaotic 22 years, but for how long I was there, how long do we have for this, sir? We had this before now. Home is always wherever you happen to be. You do a million little things that make me happy, and I know I do a million little things that irk you to no avail. But through it all, you've always been that unwaverable port in the storm, my rock, my equal partner in life, the best mother to our children a man could hope for, and sometimes my therapist, nurse, and motivational speaker / life coach. I doubt I will ever truly make up for the time I spent away from you and the kids. And quite frankly, it's the only regret I truly have in my career. Almost there, Mike. Let's go. All right. Leaving you to wrangle 2 unruly tax deductions by yourself through car accidents, surprise surgeries, emergency room visits, countless teachers' conferences, doctor's appointments, broken pipes, roof leaks, our home's floor literally giving out under your feet. Yes, that happened. And so many other countless emergencies, big and small, that you somehow handled alone with poise and grace. What I can promise you, babe, is that today marks the day I begin attempting to repay you for all that you've done for me and my family, even if it takes the rest of my life. I'm so incredibly lucky to have you by my side. I will not be the man I am today without you. Thank you for everything you do, and I love you more than you know. To my tax deductions. Tyler McKenzie. Watching you two become the amazing, caring, resilient, and accomplished young adults I see sitting here today brings me incredible joy and pride. It's all their mothers do. You two are the best things I have ever or will ever do in my life. Thanks for stepping up when needed to help your mother and each other during the times I was away. Always striving to be the best students, athletes, teammates, and most importantly, people that you could be, despite being forced to attend over 20 schools between you, having to be the new kid every few years, and dealing with more issues related to being a military brat than most adults have to face during an entire lifetime. You both are my heart. My motivation to be a better man and father. And I'm so incredibly proud to be your dad. Thank you, Dad loves you. Okay, that was the hard part. The rest is easy. All right. To my extended family, my dad, mom, brothers, sisters, uncles, aunts, grandparents, and cousins. Your unwavering support over the years, even though not everyone agreed with all of our family's decisions, meant the world to us. Thanks for always being there, trusting in our path, lending us an ear or sage advice when we needed it, or a place to stay over the years. We couldn't have done it without you. I love you all. Thank you. To the officers of the 160th Sword. Time will not allow me to name every officer who has personally and profoundly impacted me during my time in this unit, as many of you have to actually return to work later. Words cannot express the gratitude I have for the collective leadership, wisdom, and steady-handed decision-making I witnessed during my time serving as a Night Stalker. These attributes were always on full display as our team faced insurmountable odds on yet another mission no one else would try. The absolute trust and confidence SOAR officers place in their subject matter experts, warrants, NCOs, and soldiers' recommendations and decisions was never overlooked or underappreciated. Your professionalism, your sacred belief in the team, and most importantly, your effectiveness is not only rare in the Army, in my opinion. It helped me become a better leader, officer, teammate, and person. It was not taken for granted, and I appreciate it more than you know. Thank you. To the NCOs and soldiers of the 160th, I'm truly in awe of your dedication to the mission and to each other. Most soldiers would crumble under the pressure and no-fail standards that are demanded of you, but you rise to the challenge every day. It's apparent to anyone who works in close proximity to any of you that a Night Stalker is a specially selected and well-trained soldier. You forced me to be on my A game at all times and made me push myself to be a better leader and subject matter expert. Your passion for learning and finding a better answer to the impossible questions posed to us is truly what got me out of bed in the morning. I thank you for that. It was a privilege to serve side by side with each and every one of you, regardless of rank or MOS. Of course, it wouldn't be a Mike Keeber discussion without me mentioning BJJ or combatives at least once. So, to my jiu-jitsu family, many of whom couldn't be here today as they were putting it all on the line at Pan Worlds down in Orlando as we speak. You literally saved my life, and I sincerely mean that. This one's supposed to be easy. As soldiers, we don't like to talk about the angst, the stress, and the crushing pressure our service sometimes places upon our shoulders. These stressors accumulate over time. To relieve this stress, some become over-obsessed CrossFitters, some become ultramarathon runners, some turn to booze, some turn to drugs. And unfortunately, some ultimately lose this fight. We've lost too many brothers and sisters to this quiet killer over the years. Just 23 days ago, we lost one of our own to this fight. Night Stalkers don't forget, Steve. At its heart, jiu-jitsu is high-level dynamic problem-solving with dire physical consequences. It's become my own personal form of therapy and provides me a cathartic space to work through my own demons by choking and getting choked by my friends, including the chaplain that was up here earlier. He's put me to sleep before. However, there's no mat therapy without willing and tough training partners who show up day after day. So to everyone who's ever beat me up or been tapped by me on the mats over the years, thank you, and I'll see you at Open Mat this weekend. Last but never least, as they are always the easy button people look to when they're faced with tough problems, are my warrant officer brothers and sisters. It's been said that if you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room. I like to think I'm a pretty intelligent person, but I will tell you that I've personally never had that problem in the 160th. The level of tenacity and innovative problem-solving skills that I've witnessed these true SMEs apply to some of the most complex tactical problem sets that our nation has ever faced, especially in today's modern multi-domain battle space, was breathtaking. Honestly, it became hard to keep up at times, and that's how I knew I was in the right place. And it is where I wanted to be. The world-class aviators we have here are some of the most intelligent and attentive people I have ever worked with. Always willing to teach, always willing to learn, always willing to roll up their sleeves and do the hard work before the mission to ensure mission execution. The intel warrants on the 160th are truly national treasures, and I mean that. I may have had the privilege of recruiting, assessing, and initially training most of them that are here in attendance today. However, once on board, they set a new pace, challenging me daily to improve my own technical skills. They expanded not only the 160th Sour's analytical capabilities and approaches, but championed the rest of SOCOM, JSOC, and the entire Army to do the same. They should never be allowed to retire. For real. Most of their work is accomplished behind the scenes, usually in a basement somewhere. None of them get to go to the targets they study for weeks or months, and they don't even fly on the missions usually themselves. But their contributions to mission safety and threat reduction are immeasurable and irreplaceable. It was the honor of my life to be counted among them. That was supposed to be easy too. I was always envious of the line company's tradition of enshrining their FMQ and flight leads' names on their company alumni boards once a pilot had earned the right to be included amongst that company of heroes. I wanted to start this tradition with the intel warrants by chronicling the name of every 160th SOAR intel warrant I've served with since 2014. On the bourbon cabinet you see before you. The top borrows from the last line of our Night Stalker Creed, and there is wood harvested from the memorial trail embedded in the top trim. The cabinet will be placed in our new heritage room in the skiff under Grim Hall, and new names will be added as the intel warrants deem that they are worthy by their peers. I hope this tradition continues long after all of us have left the unit. When an officer assesses to come to this unit after a week of being tested mentally and physically, there's a culminating event called the board, where the officer must face a series of questions from a panel of proven senior Night Stalkers. When you first enter the boardroom, there's a sign on the door at eye level that simply reads, "Are you worthy?" That is a question I've asked myself every day over the last 9 years I've served as a Night Stalker. Am I doing enough? Do I deserve to walk among these heroes? Can I do more? Am I earning the right to be here? This is the attitude I have carried with me and attempted to instill in those around me. I hope you have found me worthy of your time, your mentorship, and your trust. When the assessment board is complete, the officer is made to wait in another room while the senior Night Stalkers deliberate and make a final decision on whether the assessed officer will be allowed to join our ranks or not. The officer is then called back to the boardroom where the sign has been changed to now read, "Was it enough?" That is a question I'll be asking myself the rest of my life. One thing I do know is that the due diligence and credible work of our intel soldiers and officers is directly responsible for keeping names off of our memorial wall. Their ability to do so comes from building upon lessons learned from our mistakes, our victories, and from a culture of taking a deep critical look at ourselves. It also comes from learning from and developing each other regardless of rank or position. Positions are temporary, ranks and titles are limited, but how you treat people and what you learn from one another, that's what will be remembered. I'll close with a quote from the great American poet, Tim McGraw. When the work you put in is realized, let yourself feel the pride. When you get to where you're going, don't forget to turn back around and help the next one in line. Always stay humble and kind. All of you have had an immense and profound impact on my life, and a simple thank you does not seem adequate enough. But thank you all for being part of my journey. I hope you'll join my family and I at Dock 17 this evening around 17:30 for some beers and heavy reminiscing. I heard Major Joseph's playing the first round for everyone. Always out front, Kill 'em all ons, Truth, Vigilance, Victory, Climb to Glory, Pacific Victors, Tropic Lightning, Information First, Night Stalkers Don't Quit.